So, welcome to this part. Now, we are going to understand about the service sector of Maharashtra. So, earlier we talked about the agriculture sector, industries, their problems, and how the government dealt with the problems. And so, now we are going to talk about the third part, which is service sector, which is a very important sector for this particular region of Maharashtra, because in this state, the state has a very large contribution of the service sector, and the service sector is the highest contribution, in fact, of 54.5% in the year 2017-18. Now, what is this service sector? First thing, if you're talking about service sector, it occupies a large number of things. Like, if you can take examples, it could be information technology, there could be BPOs, KPOs, tourism, education. So all this occupies what we call as the service sector. Okay, so anything where goods are not bought and sold, but you are trading in services. So it could be even healthcare, for example. It could be a college. So a college is a service sector because it is selling the service and getting money out of it. Now, in the case of service sector, what is required is basically a sound infrastructure facility. Not just that, for every industry, also you need a sound infrastructure facility. Now, what in this part we are also going to study and understand is about infrastructure. So, how, I mean, even in infrastructure, we have certain industries, certain service sectors, both will be occupied in the infrastructure. We'll see what all comes under the head of infrastructure. Now, if you look at industries and the economic development, basic infrastructure, like if you talk about even transportation, right? We need to have roads, railways, connection of airlines, networks, buses, private, taxis, and all that. So all this communication facility also is required. So you need transportation, you need communication, you need people and the education, right? So all this infrastructure is required, which has some parts which go under the infrastructure in terms of goods, in terms of facilities, whereas in terms of, there are certain infrastructures which come under the head of service industries. Like if you talk of health, so health is a service sector. Whereas if you talk about transport, though it is a service which is provided, there is also manufacturing of vehicles required, making of the roads. So road construction would be a part of the industry, correct? Now let's see how classification of infrastructure is done. The first important thing, two parts it is divided into. One is economic infrastructure and second one is social infrastructure. If you look at economic infrastructure, it has three parts further, which is energy, transport, communication. Energy means basically you would need solar power, electricity, windmills. So from where you are making energy, using it for the purpose of running the industry. Okay. Transport, as I told you, transport we have already discussed, and communication also, which we have discussed, which means you should have like mobile networks, internet facilities in these days. So communication should be easily possible. Social infrastructure would be basically health education. This is very important. So people should have the health facilities, easy access, and we also need educated people. So education should be something which flourishes in that state, so that you have the required skill set which is available in the format of people. So if the skill set is not there, if the education doesn't match, then it will be a problem. Now, what has been done by the government for the purpose of development of economic infrastructure? This is what we are going to see here. First thing, they have actually started off with increasing electricity generation. So, capacity of electricity generation is increased. Then, rural electrification is taking place, network improvement, and programs for energy conservation. So there are also alternate energy systems which are being built up. So if you don't have electricity or power in a particular area, can we use the solar power? Can we have windmills to generate electricity and so on? So this is what is done in the case. Then subsidy and direct benefit is given for the purpose of LPG. So LPG cylinders, if they are being used by the people, by the industries, they could be subsidized, and the subsidy doesn't get deducted in the price; it gets credited to the account directly. So that's a benefit. Then road development plans are done. Metros are being developed in different places. Maharashtra port development plans are there so that you have easy access to the ports and you don't have to go to a further port. So if you want, like Mumbai is one port, you can also develop Ratnagiri in a bigger port for the purpose of development. So this is where we talk about Sagar Mala plan. Sagar is basically the ocean, seas. And internet, of course, as I told you, that communication should be strong, so internet facilities are being developed. Now these days we also have satellite communication facilities which are being started off on a trial basis in different areas, and if these trials succeed, they can actually use it in various villages and places where you don't have the network access. Now, how is social infrastructure developed? So, if you're talking of education, primary, secondary education, higher education, all the things are being encouraged. So, primary education is being compulsively told that you have to have primary education. Children in the age group of 6 to 14 years, they have to compulsorily provide free education. Then there are programs like Sarva Shikshan Abhiyan. Okay, these are also started off in the Maharashtra state. And primary education expenditures of the state government was nearly 19,486 crores during the year 2016-17. Okay, so there was a lot of encouragement given for primary education. At least to become literate, read and write is very important. Secondary education also during this time frame of 1617, secondary education, higher education was encouraged with the help of Rashtriya Madhyamik Shikshan Abhiyan, and it was launched in 2009. And apart from this, it is very important to have higher education, right? So all industries cannot survive just with literacy. Industries also need skilled people, and so for higher education, apart from universalization of primary education, the government of Maharashtra is taking opportunities and tapping of different institutions they are setting up for the purpose of having creating technical and skilled human resources. Then, for meeting up with the challenges of globalization, privatization, liberalization, because you have different companies coming from different, different countries, and so higher education is very important, and education to match the qualifications required in those industries. This is where the state is taking efforts on different universities, developing different programs, courses for that purpose. In the part of education, they also had launching of different schemes like inclusive education. So anybody who is actually differently abled, they launched schemes where these people could be trained, developed in such a way that they get the jobs. Also reservation for the specially abled people was started off, and so they get jobs placed in like banks, maybe any kind of government organizations, and so on. Then they also focused on girls' education because this is very important to have a work balance with the correct, gender equality taking place in this particular state. Provided with buses, the state transport facilities in different villages. Benefit was given to girl child. Then they started giving bicycles to needy people, needy girls basically, who lived in 5 kilometers of that school area. And all such kind of schemes were introduced by the government. Then they also started community based schemes. Like if you talk about adult education, so there could be people who are in the age group which is above the school level. Let's say they are in their 40s and you want to educate them. Then how can you do it? Then each one teach one. This was one of the program which they started, where The government said, those who are already educated, come on, now you take the initiative as a community and teach somebody, at least one person you educate in your life. That's enough. The government of Maharashtra also started launch of tribal education. So wherever there were regions in Maharashtra which had tribes, which did not have the facilities which was required for their education, they started with certain scholarship programs. They started with giving grants to these tribes. They started providing facilities like schools, colleges in those places where they existed. Then they had ashrams which were started, like there were nearly 556 ashrams which were started for these tribal people, so that they get the basic facilities there and they get education. For the health service sector, health infrastructure to be developed, they started different schemes like National Rural Health Mission, NRHM, and National Urban Health Mission, NUHM. So they started with this NRHM, NUHM for the purpose of development of healthcare facilities, and they also and also taught the people the importance of sanitation, hygiene, safe drinking water, and so on. So this is something which the government does, and also they tie up with institutes, NGOs who does do these activities. Right, they may get the funds from the government for undertaking these activities. They started off what we call as a three-tier health infrastructure, where it was primary health infrastructure, primary health centers, community health centers, which was started off for the purpose of giving the basic level medical facilities. Then they talked about a secondary level, where in certain cities which had those facilities, the people could go there and take the health health service which could be provided. Then tertiary tier, which included well-equipped medical colleges. Like suppose if you talk about Pune, Pune has a well-equipped government college come hospital. So hospitals are there in that premises only of the government college. So education is taking place of doctors, and at the same time there are patients whom they can treat free of cost. Now, coming to the next part, that is tourism. So, Maharashtra has a service sector, service sector which speaks about giving opportunities, job opportunities, and generating revenue from tourism. So, how did they do this? They had Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation (MTDC), which was started off, and this was like a spot where there is a lodging facility, restaurant facility is provided, and people can go there and stay. And the most important thing about this was it was in the remotest locations, so that people are encouraged to go there, and it generates some revenue for the local people. They had also thought of making Maharashtra a leading tourism center by 2025 and attract investments to the tune of 30,000 crores. This was the aim. What happens when a tourism sector is basically targeted? It's important because local revenue generation can take place, and you can use the old architectural centers or old architectural sites which are available. If you're talking of Ajanta and Ellora caves, you're talking of Elephanta caves near Mumbai, you're talking about forts of Shivaji which are there in Maharashtra. So all this can help the development of tourism, attract people to the state. And so what they also started taking up festivals, okay, like Ellora Festival. So Ellora Festival could attract people all across the globe to watch it, right? Then there are sound and light shows which were started in different areas of which were like the forts, and storytelling started off with the sound and light show. Then they also started off with different types of tourism, like if you're talking of um, agro-tourism, eco-tourism, then food tourism, safaris, wildlife safaris, tribal lifestyle kind of tourisms, and so on. So different tourism facilities are developed, and at the same time, there is also attraction for the tourists to come to Maharashtra different types and varieties of tourism have also been started. Then hospitality is a broad service industry, but of course, in this we also have hotels, lodging facilities, where we find that because of tourism, a lot of business was also developed in Maharashtra. Finally, in the service industry part, we have the entertainment industry. Like you have movies, movie theaters, multiplexes, and all such things developed in Maharashtra, so that the entertainment industry is also running. Entertainment service industry is also running. Word of Bollywood, because Bollywood is something which was developed for the purpose of encouragement to the movies which were created in Maharashtra. Now, there was what was called as a cooperative movement, which was, you can say, a boon which was created by the state of Maharashtra, where you're bringing together different people from the same profession, same industry, or same occupation together for the purpose of having a cooperative society formed. They can use their own, they can use and discuss their skills, they can exchange and market their products, they can also have the facility of exporting the products, quality checks are there, and all this entire cooperative society can actually create a huge and a bigger business for that same product. Not just the cooperative societies, they also have cooperative credit societies which give loans, easy loans to their members. So cooperative credit facilities, credit societies are something which we find in Maharashtra and given mostly for agro processing, then kind of agro marketing, dairy industries, fisheries, textiles, housing. All these are the areas where you will find the benefit of agricultural credit. By 31st of March 2017, there were nearly 1.95 lakh cooperative societies. So 1.95 lakh cooperative societies existed, which means these people came together for the purpose of doing business, most of the time with enhanced skill set, because you have a group of people now you using each other's skill sets and developing the business, one doing marketing, one doing finance, one doing maybe export, whatever. So this creates a very important, you can say, a milestone for the development of the state. So hopefully this case study as we have taken in this chapter 4 on Maharashtra is clear to you. And we have discussed different areas where a person studying economics will focus and will want to understand about that particular region, so that you have a clear understanding of that region, its development, and what areas need to be developed, and what could be the different policies that could be framed for their development, right? In the next chapter, we are going to deal with the rural development of India, which is very important because India has a huge population, nearly 60% or more also, which lives in the rural areas.